Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, just welcome. Appreciate you being here, and I hope this video helps you out. We're going to address the front wheel bearing on a 2008 Ford Mustang. So this is a base model, but it's also the same for your GT. So you got years from like 2005 to 2009. It could be very similar to newer years as well. Upwards to 2010 to 2014. So I guess we can get started and say, why do I have a bad wheel bearing? How can I tell I have a bad wheel bearing? Very simple. You can jack up your car and you can roll it. And in my case here, there's no noise on my wheel bearing at all whatsoever. The only noise I hear here is the only noise I actually hear is the brake pads touching the rotor, slightly. And that's normal. So you can hear a loud grinding sound while you drive, or maybe a squeal, or it just sounds rough once you're driving the vehicle. There's going to be a pronounced sound here in the front of the car. In my case here, the way I found it is, of course, have it jacked up like this freely, and I can grab the top and the bottom of the wheel, and I can do this. You can hear the little knocking going on. So that means I have a loose wheel bearing. So that needs to be replaced, right? So it's not any other suspension parts. It's very pronounced that you can move it off the rim. So when you rock the tire here, you can hear it just knock. That means something's wrong with my wheel bearing. It's loose for some reason. Granted, I had no noise. So what you're going to do is, there's two ways to tackle it. You can buy wheel bearings and install the wheel bearings in your hub assemblies, which is this guy right here. So you can install new bearings in your existing hub. But the easier way, especially if you're going to do this at home, because you're going to need a press to actually press these in, is just buy the hub. The whole assembly with the wheel bearings already installed, and they're already pre-greased and all that good stuff. So these days, these parts are fairly affordable, and there's a lot of manufacturers out there for these. So it just depends what your budget is and what you can afford. You can go straight, Motorcraft parts. Like I said, when you do your research, there's quite a bit of manufacturers that make them, so they're all just fine. They're pretty much built to all the same specifications. So you're going to need one of these, of course. You're also going to need a new nut. Okay, so I think this one was from Durango, is the company. There's the part number there, but there's other manufacturers out there that make these as well. So these are a one-time use only wheel nut. So you want to replace them, and it's at your risk if you reuse your existing one. Okay, so Ford recommends that you replace this every time you take it off, because you got the torque on here is really high. Once we get to that part, I'll give you the specifications for this nut. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is, of course, we're going to take off the rim and tire, and then we're going to break everything down. We're going to have to take off the brake assembly completely, pull the rotor off, and then we'll access our hub. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to remove the whole brake system here, the caliper and the bracket together. I'm going to try to cheat the system here, so hopefully everything goes back together at this point. So we're going to remove two bolts here in the back. They're 15mm bolts. Keep in mind they should be really tight. I went ahead and broke them loose slightly, and so now I just got to finish removing them. So I'm just going to slide it off. And the whole idea is for me to slide it back on after we're done. If not, then I'm going to have to press the pads in a little bit. So I'm not going to leave this hanging. I got a box here that I'm going to go ahead and prop it up on. There we go. Now you can remove your rotor. So now we got access to the hub here. Yeah, you can tell there's a noise. There we go. It's kind of hard to replicate with by hand. With the tire on it, the tire has more weight, so it's a little bit easier, but there we go. See, it's there. Alright, so next we're going to remove this dust cover. Alright, what I'm going to use is just a screwdriver and a hammer and see if we can separate this hub off. Once you get behind the screwdriver, you can twist. See if it'll pry out. If it doesn't, move to the next spot, like I'm going to here. Just kind of work your way around. It's almost off. It's got to be patient with it. There we go. Alright, off. Alright, so now this exposes our wheel hub nut. And it looks like this one's factory. This one's never been replaced before. I can tell that because it has the outer cage here on the nut. So one tool you might not have in your toolbox, and I should have probably mentioned at the beginning of the video, I apologize for it, is you're going to need a 36 millimeter socket to get this this nut off. So luckily I do have one. You can tell it's fairly large. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it with the impact and see if it'll break it loose. If not, we're going to go ahead and use a pry bar on it. Alright, so once you got that nut off, I got lucky in my case. This impact gun has never failed me. So what you want to do before sliding off the hub is be careful with your sensor right here, and to make sure that everything comes out straight. It should come out straight anyway, but just keep in mind if you still have your sensor in back here to watch out for it. It should be that easy. You can tell this is a Ford part. There's the Ford symbol right there. You can tell that there's my issue. The bearings are starting to separate in here. That's not good. So what I'm going to do next, yeah, it's just a little bit of play. All that is all what it needs. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and clean up this area real good. And then we're going to apply a light coat of grease, especially on the back end here, just to keep any dirt and sand type stuff away from here, debris, water as well. So it'll keep it from rusting up back here. So let's get this cleaned up. So I'm just cleaning it with some brake cleaner and just a cloth, just to kind of get any grime that's left on it. This one was clean already, but you might have a different situation, so Just make sure it's nice and clean. You don't want nothing getting into this bearing at this point. Alright. Alright, we're nice and clean. So now I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of grease on it. So it's not going to be much. I just want to be able to get in here with the bearing race kind of hits back here. That way I kind of keep moisture out as well. Kind of get it skimmed up pretty good. Remember these bearings that you buy in the hub are already pre-greased, so you don't have to worry about that. I think that's good there. At this point, we're going to go get our new hub. There's the sensor I was telling you about. Be careful for. You can slide it all the way back like this. Make sure everything's in. And then you can get our new nut. Factory nut is a whole lot different. It has a cage on the outside of it, and then kind of like a spinning washer on it, right? So this one's a whole lot different. So I'm gonna also do too, since we're gonna torque this really high, is I'm gonna put some grease here on this side. It'll help torque down this nut. Put it here. That'll make it a torque. I can get a better torque number on it by doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and just put it on by hand first. And if you have an impact, great. I'm going to go ahead and set it in with the impact. And then I'm going to come back with the torque wrench. So it bottomed out there. So I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to get the torque wrench, and we're going to torque this down. Alright, so we're going to torque this down to 221 foot-pounds. Why the extra foot-pound? I have no idea. So let me go ahead and get my torque wrench set up here for 221. Alright, so we're set to 221. There we go. Just like that, we're set. Alright, so at this point we're going to go ahead and put our grease hub back on. We're going to go around and just tap it in. If you have a large socket that fits around this, even better. But you can just tap it around like so. Oops. And then your rotor. Temporarily secure this rotor. We'll use our own nut here. Just kind of lock it into place. Just temporarily until we get the caliper on. Alright, if we're lucky, this thing goes right back on where it came off. Like that. Alright, so before we put the bolts into the bracket here, keep in mind I just did a brake job on this one, so it has blue Loctite. But in your case, I'm going to go ahead and put a drop on mine. Blue Loctite right here at the end. Both of them. And so these are torqued down to 85 foot-pounds is what I like to do them at. I've seen different specifications for Ford Mustang for some reason. I've always used 85 foot-pounds to set them down, but I've also seen 98 foot-pounds. But I've always used 85 foot-pounds and never had an issue. So it's up to you what you find. I've seen Ford specifications specify both, so it's kind of like a confusing thing here. So I'm just going to go with what I used. And that's 85 foot-pounds. Alright, so that pretty much wraps it up for this episode. Off camera, of course, I'm going to go ahead and torque this down the way it needs to be. Like I said, 85 foot-pounds or 98, whatever you want, whatever you find or what you feel comfortable with. 85 has always worked for me. So I hope this video helps you out. If it does, give me a thumbs up. Send me some comments down below if you got any questions. And of course, I appreciate you coming and watching. Till the next time, see ya.